good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you might be. It's my pleasure to introduce to you something that we've been working on. This is an amazing fun project, an inspirational project, by the way, that we've put together to keep us focused. You know that Starts From All Nations is the education company that solves youth unemployment in Africa and indeed the world. So we have here what we call the Immortality Frame, the project that we put together to inspire us, to motivate us and keep us focused. Individuals that have walked the path of greatness and solved problems in the world, in Africa particularly, that we have put their names here as a focus for us. I can tell you a lot about these individuals one by one. Every one of you know Pastor Chris Yakilome, who is a wonderful gentleman, a global evangelist, tele-evangelist, a healing minister, who began his ministry like any other young person, never known, nobody knew him, but today he's leading the most enlightened global audience of believers. And I think to myself, how did he put those frameworks together? How did he build that global movement? And as SFAN is a global franchise, a global movement, we are inspired by the work that he's done, his faith, his commitment to the gospel, his ministry. And of course, you know about Tony Elumelu, who took a defunct bank and turned it into Africa's global bank. UBA today is known by everyone. So I'm thinking to myself, how did he do that? And by the way, most importantly, when he was doing that, was he just building a business or was he inspiring a generation? So SFAN is out to inspire the next generation of plus dreamers, the next generation of thinkers and dreamers and builders. And I look at his work, and mission and mandate, and I am so inspired. And of course, I have no excuse. We have no excuse. We just have to build the framework that young people will need to build their careers. Of course, Kofi Bryant, everyone knows Kofi Bryant. Before he left this world, he did incredible things. He worked with one organization for 20 years, retired with a 60-point game. Beyond his unbelievable work ethics, which everyone knows, is the commitment that he made. The first day he went to the court, he determined to be one of the best that played the game. And he not only said it, but he did it. And I think to myself, Kofi Bryant was just an average young person, not with a lot of talent, but he worked hard. He put in the effort and he put in the dedication and focus. And today we are all inspired around the world by Kofi Bryant. So when I look at what he's done, when I look at the legacy he set, Mamba mentality, everybody knows that. So I'm quite inspired every day to do this hard work that we're doing here. Of course, my mother, Martina Emewulu, which I haven't really told her story the way I should. When I was a little boy, people tried to convince her to leave me to die because I was sickly. They thought I was going to be a burden to society, but she believed, she made that commitment to raise me, and today you know me. I'm sure that she had lots of disappointment in that journey, but when I think about her, I remember that I have a duty to play to all of you that have put your trust in this global movement that we're building here. And of course, Casey, who we brought you his story a while ago, you saw his struggle, you saw his journey, you saw the decisions that he made to be somebody better. And today, we are so privileged to have his interest in the franchise that we're building, the global movement that we're building. And I think about his belief in our work. I think about his commitment to us. I'm so inspired every day, to keep doing what we have to do to make this the best that it could be. Of course, Selama the Devil is somebody who I always talk about when I talk to my team. I talk in groups, when I talk everywhere I find myself. I really want to talk about Selama the Devil because of what he's done in this community, in the entrepreneurship ecosystem in Ghana. Putting MTN at the top is easy, but maintaining that top is not always easy for any organization, whatever the size and resources they have, especially in this time and day that we're living in Ghana. But Selam has done an incredible work with MTN as the CEO, of course, with his team. And I think about the corporate leadership and the legacy that he's set in humility, that he's setting in this country. And I'm always inspired about him. And we've put his name here because we are so inspired about MTN's work and their commitment to the digital ecosystem in Ghana, of course. As you remember, MTN sponsored our career fair last year, so we are really excited to see how much collaborations that will evolve in that direction. Liz, as a lot of you know, is the first female fund manager of an institutionally backed fund, and I'm always inspired by Liz. The first time I met Liz was in 2016. We went for Speed Up Africa by a Silicon Valley based organization, and I was speaking to Liz, and we got talking, and I told Liz my dream was to be on Forbes, and Liz was like, that shouldn't be a dream actually, because you can actually build Forbes. So since then we've been on Forbes, and always when I remember that word, you can actually build Forbes. You shouldn't be aiming to be on Forbes. Liz inspires me by her work, by her personality, by just being who she is, and she's been a long time supporter of our work. Liz, I'm really, really inspired by you and what you do, what you represent for the young girls, not only young girls, but young people entirely. Being who you are today is inspiring right back to us. So thank you so much for your commitment to the work that we do and your belief in me. So thank you so very much. Of course, Tushi. Tushi Ivowi is one of our board members, and she was the co-CEO and founding member of Ghana Commodity Exchange. Today, she is the CEO of the exchange, and there wasn't actually a Ghana Commodity Exchange before Tushi came into the picture. For so long, we've all discussed and talked and deliberated and argued about the fact that we have to give value to the raw materials that we extract from here before shipping it to the rest of the world. And Tushi is one of the people that are making that happen. It's not enough to talk online and go to events and make speeches and give sermons and all of those things. It's about the hard work that goes to the background, and Tushi is one of the people that makes that happen. She is a big believer in young people. She wrote the foreword for my book, Breaking the Limits, which I'm always thankful for. Tushi, this is an appreciation from the rest of us on the team to you for the work that you do. Of course, I can tell you about my big sister, Grace. Grace raised me. She took a chance on me when she was still trying to put her own life together as a young person. Today, I think I'm older than the age she was when she took me in, and I'm always thinking in my mind, how did she do it as a young lady, trying to still build her life, but the sacrifice she made for the family and still makes, the love that she has for everyone that comes her way, the giving spirit that she has, she's just amazing, and I pray every day that I can be able to make her proud, and by the help of God, pay back some of the debt that I owe her. Thank you so much for believing in me, and continually praying for the work that we're doing. I met Prince in 2015. It was through one of the hardest moments in my life, and he has continually supported me. He didn't know me before that encounter, but he jumped at the opportunity to support the work. He provided the resources and the opportunities that took us to the next level. Thank you so much, Mr. Prince Morogua. Let me tell you something about Mr. Ewua, Patrick Ewua, one of my all-time heroes. To me, Patrick Ewua is a living legend. I don't think a lot of people know what Patrick has done in this country to build that missing link that wasn't there when he was a young person. And a lot of you might not also know this. When you visit SFANonline.org, you will see on the homepage, we say we believe that young people are smart, and if we can give them the skills and opportunities to engage the real world, we believe that magic will happen. Let me tell you something. The first time I heard that statement was through Patrick Ewua. It was in 2012. I read some article that he wrote, and I was still thinking about what to do, how to get involved in solving this problem for youth unemployment. And I read Patrick say, we must believe, we must begin to appreciate the fact that these kids are smart. And it clicked immediately to me. And I have told this to you when you were speaking at our keynote, as a keynote speaker at our Global Student Entrepreneurship Week in 2020, I told you that I'm always inspired by you, and that's true. Every opportunity I have to talk about you, I will always say that you inspire me just for the legacy you are building for the next generation of African leaders, which we are privileged to be following in that step of education enterprise. Of course, here we have Madame Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. When you read Breaking the Limit, you will see a elaborate story about Madame Sirleaf. Fought so much, not for herself, but for Liberia as the first female president of Liberia. And today, a lot of young women and girls are experiencing and enjoying and becoming part of the fruits of that struggle. And she told us, and she has shown us, that when you believe something so much, you must apply yourself in making it happen. So I feel so privileged to have known that these people, they started being nobody, and today we talk about them. And this is my time. We can talk about what's not available right now. The government have done this or that. But the fact remains that every generation have their own fights, and this is our time. This is my time. So every morning when I wake up, I think about people like Madam Ellen Johnson. No matter what happens, I know I haven't been in jail because of an offense I didn't commit, but she has been there. So likewise, let me tell you about Strife Masihwa. Strife Masihwa is a huge inspiration to the enterprise because he began his journey like every other young person. He started creating an enterprise. His government thought he wasn't required to be so, and he stuck it out and won the case. And today, we all know that he has built a legacy, one of the most influential leaders in the world. We are talking about Strife Masihwa. Not only in Africa, he's a member of several boards, including Netflix, who quite recently was appointed the only African on the board. So, leaders go first, and Strife Masihwa went first. And some of the things that we're building through Ready for Work is quite frankly the first. And when we think about Strife Masihwa, no sacrifice is too great to go through for the soul of the nations. Because, quite frankly, I'm going to be honest with you, what we are doing here really is a fight for the soul of the nations, which is young people, to create a platform that will help young people live on their terms and act as inspiration to inspire others. Of course, there is Mr. Akiwumi Adesina. Mr. Akiwumi Adesina is the president of African Development Bank. If you follow the news, of course, a lot of us saw his name in the news quite recently when he was seeking re-election in the African Development Bank. This man has really done something that in the next years to come, in the next few years to come, that legacy will be too hard to match. I met him, he shook my hand. I told him, Mr. Adesina, you have talked about the future of Africa. And I told him, today, a lot of us are becoming that future that you spoke about. In that line, let me tell you about the late Kofi Annan. Everybody knows Kofi Annan. He made a statement about education that anyone who is anybody that talk about education always mention that as the premise of everything about education, which is quite important. I will tell you about Nelson Mandela. Everybody should go and see Invictus. Watch it, digest it, and experience it. You quite appreciate what Madiba did for all of us. But of course, there is also Miss Katherine Eggman. The reason this wonderful woman is so important to us is because she is a believer in young people. In 2016, when Ready for Work was still being incubated and fleshed out and all of those things, there wasn't quite much flamboyance about our work. She believed and she sponsored young people. I remember I called her and she was like, Tom Chris, I know how hard these things are to get off the ground. I'm going to sponsor 3 people, which is amazing. And just the other day, she was talking to me about the program again and she said, look, I have some young person I want to send to the Ready for Work training. Just let me know when it's starting again. We just ended a cohort recently and she's like, let me know September, I have somebody I'm going to sponsor to join the program. Ms. Eggman, you are the dream and I really appreciate you. I love you. Thank you so much for believing in our work. Also, Nana Kwame Bediako, take guts to be who he is today, building the things that he's building. But one of the things that strike me in the conversations that I've had with him is his foresight. The things he wants to establish, the industrialization that he wants to spur, not only in Ghana, but, in the black race is quite impressive. I've had the privilege of listening to him. I've interviewed him once. And I always leave his presence with some new energy. Because that's what he inspires in everybody that comes close to him. The vim, the lion, he's quite amazing. Of course, there is Sidiki Jabi from Sierra Leone. This gentleman is not like your conventional corporate executive. Even though he could close his eyes and make his money and go to Vegas or where have you for holiday, he chose to spend that in setting up a social work in Sierra Leone. As you know, violent crimes and extremism is a huge concern in the continent, across the continent. But Sidiki's project is giving opportunity for young people who would ordinarily be idle to be engaged in doing productive and meaningful work through the social work, the sanitation project that he set up, which is quite amazing. I remember Pastor Chris says that success is making the world better than you met it, and in our eyes, Sidiki is a huge success symbol. Of course, there is Tracy Shea, our friend and our supporter. Tracy has been a huge supporter to the company since, I don't know, maybe 2015, 14, thereabouts. She's just amazing. Tracy, thank you so much for what you do for the company. Thank you for believing in our work, believing in young people, going beyond your comfort zone to support and lend a hand is quite valuable. You've rebuilt yourself several times over and remain relevant in your company, Samsung Ghana. Thank you so much. Of course, there is Frank Nelson Mokulu, my father figure in Ghana. Frank Nelson Mokulu gave me shelter when I came to the country newly. He served as a role model for me by just being so passionate about young people. He is always in support of every young person that comes his way. He took me under his wing for many years, gave me tips when I was still in school. He would give me some pocket money. He will give me advice. He will carry me in his car. We will go around. He will introduce me to people. He will take me to meetings, and he really showed me what a gentleman should be. Mr. Nelson Mokulu, you are an inspiration to me, to us. You started your journey, demonstrated excellence, won scholarship, went to India, studied so hard, came back to Africa, and you built so many enterprises that are providing several jobs. When I think about what you said if a person is lucky to have a parent that sent them to school, then they shouldn't expect anything else from society or from anybody else. That statement rings in my ear. Everything you taught me, I still remember. I listened to you. I remember everything you said. I remember your inspiration. I remember how you treat people. I remember how you treat your workers. I remember how you treat your wife with so much respect. I remember how you serve everybody. The first time I met you, we were serving. I was so surprised that a president of a huge organization will be tying rope to hang banner. I took that from you. I took your spirit of service. You serve even your receptionists. You know everybody by name. Thank you so much. You showed me what a leader should be. I'm just trying to ensure that I can demonstrate that through the work that we're doing. Thank you so much for teaching me everything that you taught me. I am really appreciative of it. Of course, let me tell you about Bishop Isaac Otibuatin, a wonderful man of God. Began his journey with nothing 10 years ago, remade himself a prayerful, miracle-believing and amazing gentleman that has stood for many tests, fought many battles, built several branches of his organization, his church, from nothing, and today he's running one of the fastest growing churches in Ghana. We put his name here because that kind of spirit is one of the things that drive us. It doesn't really matter where you began your life. It doesn't really matter what you're going through. What matters is how you respond to the situations, how you apply yourself to the work, the commitment that you give to the work, the respect that you give to your artistry, and how much you believe in God. Because quite frankly, this is not about business for us. This is a ministry for us. This is a mandate. We are a praying organization. We believe in God. We believe that we are here to solve a problem that God has chosen us to solve. I see myself as the prophet for this ministry, which is creating an enterprise that will not only unlock the potentials of young people, but help them to live on their terms. And so every morning when we come to do the ministry that we are doing in this facility, starting from here to the rest of the world. We look at this board, we're inspired by the names here, the legacy that we see here. We're inspired by the stories that are told on this wall, and we are making this promise to the young people who are inspired back by our work. We make the promise of excellence, we make the promise of dedication to the vision, we make the promise of doing things that have never been done before. We are the city's finest brand. We are privileged to be a for youth by youth enterprise, and you just have to watch out for what we do next, because it's going to be beautiful. Thank you so much for believing. Thank you for following the journey. Stay connected to us, sfanonline.org. Join Ready for Work, which is going to be the next phase of education. We are reinventing the skills development landscape on the continent, and we're excited about every step of the way. Thank you so much.